Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. I'm the Psychic Gamer, and I'm going to do a little introduction for my first podcast. So, as I said before, I am the Psychic Gamer. I do content for gaming, which is a passion of mine, and this is going to be more of the psychic side of things that I work with in my daily life. So, if you are here for gaming, and you're not here for a podcast about the psychic world, I would probably turn that off because we're not going to talk about gaming right now. You're going to see the playlist. I'm going to be uploading these to the Psychic Gamer Podcast. These are specifically going to be about the psychic world. So I want to do just a really quick rundown of what a psychic is and the different types of psychics, because I come to find out that a lot of people think that a psychic does certain things and every psychic does that thing, which couldn't be any further from the truth. So what is a psychic? A psychic is somebody who has a connection to the spiritual world. That's probably one of the best and easiest ways to describe a psychic. Meaning, there are different senses that we use. Human beings have the typical senses of, hopefully I get them all: touch, smell, sight, vision, and hearing. And we have those senses psychically. Some of us have one, some of us have two, three, maybe all of them. Really depends on the individual. For me, the psychic hearing, I'm going to throw in psychic knowing. That's a big one. Psychic knowing, speaking, those are probably going to be my biggest ones. When I do mediumship, I do a lot of psychic smelling. Like, I actually channeled a spirit and I could smell a bread factory in my apartment. It was the strangest thing, and she was known for making bread. That was a really cool experience. But every psychic is going to be different. The kind of psychic that I am has changed, definitely. I started off on my psychic journey, and I saw some of my past lifetimes and how I passed away in those, and some of the lessons that I may have or haven't learned in those lifetimes. And then I kind of went off on a tangent trying to figure out what exactly it is. And if you hear that meowing, that is one of my two kitties. They are very vocal, so I apologize for that, but you will probably hear that in these podcasts. So once I went through my spiritual awakening, I saw those lifetimes, and then I kind of went around about my time and trying to figure out what it is I'm supposed to do with this. And it definitely took some time, and I definitely had some very interesting visitors come through and try to explain to me all these certain things. And one of my very first visitors was the Archangel. I'll just say an Archangel. I don't want to say which one, and I don't want you to put too much attention as this person has this connection to Archangels. It's very common for Archangels to visit all human beings, whether you're aware of it or not. They don't stay for very long, but they definitely do visit lots of human beings. But this Archangel basically said to me that, they showed me an image of the Bible. So this is not your path. And I knew that. I'm not a Christian. I just thought it was weird that I was being visited by an individual who's in the Bible. I believe the archangels are also in the Jewish faith, and probably in Islam as well. I'm not for sure on that. Let me know if I'm correct in that assessment. And kind of showed me where I was supposed to go. And my path was one of healing, one of just having conversations with people and learning about them, helping them if I could. And that's what I'm here for. So it's kind of one of the reasons I want to make this podcast is to reach out, educate, and have great conversations with you all. There are going to be people who don't believe in psychics, and that's perfectly fine. And on top of that, there are going to be people that don't resonate with everything I have to say. And that's completely understandable. Everyone has a different path. And if you think I'm full of crap, that's totally fine. What's not fine is for you to be toxic in the comments. I will be managing those comments very well. But if you have something you actually want to say it respectfully, say it constructive, because I want to keep this a very positive environment. And if I can address it, I will. And if not, I'll probably put it on the back burner and try to search the ethos or the ether for some sort of answer. So I work with people, and I don't really go and seek out these people. I let these people come to me. I believe that they are guided to me by spirit beings that are connecting both of us. And that is my big thing, is I don't really seek people out. I will say my public readings, like psychic readings, I've done one. And that was for silent auction at my place of work. Somebody won it, and I did that with the guidance of my spirit team. They said to go ahead and do that, and I listened to them. I listened a lot to my spirit team. They've kept me safe and protected my entire life. And once I start talking about how interesting my life has been, you'll come to understand what that means to me as a person. I don't take that lightly. They have worked very hard to keep me safe when all else was seeking to do me harm. So, with that being said, I am the kind of person that will talk to ancestors. I will talk to your ancestors. I cannot talk to your spirit guides. Those are highly evolved ancestors. But there are some of your ancestors that may reach out to me if they have something to say. Typically, when I'm reading someone, because I've done a lot of readings for friends, when I'm reading someone, I will, if there's a message that they really want to get through to you, I'll hear it repeat. And the more it repeats is like the more important, and the more of somebody not getting something. Like they have a lesson that's repeating in their life because they're not learning it. And so their ancestors typically come to me and they're like, he needs to work on mental health. And they will not stop saying it until I talk to you about this, because they're so persistent, because it's so important for the individual. I also won't talk to people or engage with anyone who has secrets that are not ready to come up. I actually have a friend I have this conversation with, and that is an issue in his life, and he doesn't want to know the answers to those, and I totally respect that, and that's the reason he's never asked me to read him. And so I always respect boundaries. I think that's incredibly important. I'm not here to put your stuff out in the open at all. I always respect boundaries. I think that's incredibly important. So I probably won't be doing a whole lot of readings at first. We're going to kind of see how that goes and kind of play with that. This is going to be more of me talking about what I've learned, what I've experienced. And if you have any questions and if I can answer them, that's great. So that kind of explains who I am as a psychic. I cannot tell you the winning lottery numbers. I have gotten that question before. Reading the future is incredibly difficult. Love, love is one of those things that's constantly shifting and changing, and so I don't really like to answer questions about love because those are varied on so many different factors, and those factors change every day. So I don't really like talking about that either. It's typically I like talking to people, and people usually come to me when their ancestors have something to say to them. So that's typically what I do. But I love researching alien life. I think that's fascinating to me. I have heard so many psychics, different variations on beliefs of alien life. It's definitely not my path, unfortunately, because I'm a huge fan of science fiction. But, I have kind of like gone down that rabbit hole of what that is and what's waiting for us and kind of what other psychics have had to say about it. I think that's cool, but that's just not me. I apologize if that's what you're looking for. Past lives is definitely something that I have talked about. I have experienced. But doing a regression, I don't do regressions. You actually don't even need a psychic to do regressions. There's a lot of trained regressionists that will do past life regressions. They tend to be incredibly expensive. That's the other thing, is I don't really do this for a whole lot of money. And for me, it's always trying to help the individual who's hurting. That's kind of where I come at it from. So that's me in a nutshell. If that resonates with you, click subscribe, like the podcast. If it doesn't, move on. Have a great day. Thanks for listening, and take care. I will talk to you guys soon.